Ms. Hogan, you have a fentanyl epidemic in the United States, and our sources now say that it's very clear that China and Mexico are the two principal means by which fentanyl is coming into the United States. The number of opioid deaths in our country has escalated dramatically, with the single largest new addition to that plague being fentanyl as a killer in our country. What is our government saying to Mexico about the importation of fentanyl? It comes up right from Mexico and it winds up in Lawrence, Massachusetts, where people die, but that's the story for most of our country. What is it that we are telling the Mexicans about this importation of fentanyl?
Thank you for the question. Actually, it's the State Department that has the lead on that dialogue, so I would ask my colleague from State Department to respond.
Mr. Palmieri.
Yeah, Senator, thank you. We are engaged in a broad-based effort with Mexico to improve counter-narcotics interdiction and to improve their ability to eradicate poppy cultivation inside Mexico, as well as strengthen our border and law enforcement cooperation to prevent those kinds of drugs from leaving Mexico.
Well, what about, are you talking specifically about fentanyl? Fentanyl is the new addition. It's like a chemical concoction that is put together. What are you saying about fentanyl specifically to the Mexicans? It's a killer.
Well, we have a broad-based conversation with Mexico on counter-narcotics. Our law enforcement agencies are engaged with Mexico across the full range of drug trafficking that emanates from Mexico into the United States. And
I'm asking, are you having specific conversations about fentanyl with them? It's much more deadly than heroin or anything that has ever been seen before. What are you saying to them about this one specific new addition to the opioid death spiral that too many families in America have now fallen?
We are pressing the Mexican government to do all it can to prevent illegal narcotics from entering the United States and to work collaboratively with our law enforcement agencies. And fentanyl is definitely one of those substances that we are focused on, sir.
Well, I would just urge you as strongly as I can to elevate fentanyl to the top priority which you have. It has the potential to kill tens of thousands of Americans over the next several years. And the route in is through Mexico. So this is something that I just urge you to elevate to the level of intense dialogue between our two countries so that they know that we mean business on that issue. It is of critical concern, not just in urban America, but in every city and town in our country. Fentanyl is coming. Fentanyl is the new drug that is killing people, and we've got to stop it. And the Mexicans must be our aggressive partner in this. On human rights in Mexico, the security forces have been implicated in repeated serious human rights violations, including extrajudicial killings, enforced disappearances, and torture, and that the government has made little progress investigating or prosecuting those responsible for abuses. What is happening in Mexico defies belief. In September of 2014, 43 students disappeared in Mexico. That was nearly 2 years ago. At the time, I wrote a letter urging the Secretary of State to do everything possible to support the Mexican government by making additional investigative and forensic resources available. My letter also urged assistance to the Mexican government in its efforts to bring all those responsible to justice and to ensure positive post-mortem identifications that allow families to begin their grieving and healing process. This, the Mexican government has not done. In 2015, An interdisciplinary group of experts appointed by the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights went to Mexico to investigate the case and worked for about a year to uncover the truth. But then the Mexican government refused to extend their mandate, prematurely ending their work. This past weekend, they released their final report and found serious abuses and inconsistencies in the Mexican government's investigation. The report throws the government's version of events into serious question and suggests that the government did not seek to discover the extent of official culpability for these crimes. Last Friday, the New York Times reported that the group of experts has endured carefully orchestrated attacks in the Mexican news media, a refusal by the government to turn over documents or grant interviews with essential figures, and even a retaliatory criminal investigation into one of the officials who appointed them. What is our government doing to persuade the Mexican government to allow the group of experts to continue its investigation? And what will we do now in response to their report? Mr. Mellon.
I'm going to start and I can jump in.
Senator, we did take note of the April 24th report of the independent experts from the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights. We commend the Commission's work, and we do urge Mexico to consider the reports and respond to the report's recommendations, specifically to provide assistance to the families and the victims, to bring the perpetrators to justice, and to evaluate the suggested actions to address the forced disappearances associated with that incident.
Well, what additional actions can we take in order to impress upon the Mexican government how serious we are about this issue?
Well, we do have an ongoing human rights dialogue with the Mexican government. This is a topic that has been raised at many different levels and will continue to be raised directly with the government, sir.
Yeah, I think that we've got obviously a huge problem here. 27,000 Mexicans have disappeared over the last 10 years that the government has done little to investigate. And I think that this is just an escalating problem inside of their country, and I think it's up to the United States, since they are our partner on so many other issues, to use every bit of leverage we have to let them know that we are dead serious about this issue, and it just cannot be allowed to continue. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.